I'm scared, Mom, I'm scared.
Out of the frying pan, it's Animal Test 6308. I need to make adjustments.
Prediction for Hydro Traveler. That's actually a good question. What the fuck are they gonna do with Hydro Traveler? I don't know. Healer? I don't like that idea. Honestly, you guys remember when I did the April Fool's video? The Folklores kit? Give him like a version of that. I want Hydro MC to be a carry, not a support. I want no off-field presence whatsoever. Every single ability on-field. Genshin is running out of roles to fill? Not really, no. They just haven't been getting creative recently. Want a more cool, flexible character like Alhaitham? Here's the thing, Alhaitham's not flexible. He was flexible before his nerf. And like, yeah, they ended up rebuffing him afterwards, and he ended up being about as strong as he was pre-nerf, but in different ways. And basically, they made his just like, go on field, hold E, auto, for like 5 seconds, and then ult, and then swap out, and don't swap back to him until the next rotation. They made that playstyle just basically shit by hard nerfing the damage on his ult. They didn't want him to be flexible. Because he was flexible. And then they changed his numbers around for him to be about as good in his quote-unquote intended role, and to be much worse in his quote-unquote unintended role. But I think they did that, maybe because they want to leave themselves some more design room in the future for characters that can do stuff like Alhaitham would have been able to, but I think it's a bad decision. Co-op playstyle is really fun. Yeah, it could have been really fun. Alright, like you just swap into him, hold E plunge, get your first like follow-up from your E, keep attacking until you get your second one. As soon as you get your second one, ult, and then swap out. Who do I think is the best design 3.x 5-star? Nahida? No, it's not Nahida. Definitely not Nahida. It's a good question, really. Honestly, I really like what they did with Baiju's design. Like, the idea of having shields that aren't really there to be shields, just there to be, like, a way of having resistance to interruption, but with a different limitation as usual resistance to interruption, I think that's really fucking cool. I think that's my favorite design. I also don't think he should have been a Catalyst user. I don't think he should have had an infusion, and I think they should have made his buff affect your whole team instead of only your active character. That's how I would have preferred to see a kit like his executed. I mean, you could also make an argument for Alhaitham's kit, and honestly, if we had never gotten the pre-quote-unquote nerf version of him in the beta, my answer probably would have been Alhaitham.
Whatever.
But it's not him, basically because I know what he could have been, right? Like, I know what he was about to be, and then they just said, fuck you. You don't get to have fun. What should he have been? Basically, they took a lot of his number... They backloaded a lot of his damage, basically. They nerfed the ult damage a lot, and they nerfed the E initial hit damage, but they buffed the, like, sword rain damage. But the thing is, those changes made it so that he's just bad if you use him as like hold E, auto for a little bit, ult while you still have 3 mirrors and swap out. It's just not good enough. Dude, it's so cringe that the trucks are doing that right now, man. Cause it's like, I need to keep my window open to know when my delivery's getting here, but I can't keep my window open because the trucks are too loud. Or like 2.x or 3.x designs more. 2.x, I think. What's the best design 5-star overall? That's a good question. The main thing is that basically every character has issues, and sometimes it's hard to know whether that should be attributed to design or to like execution / coding / bugs / whatever. Like a good example of that is Aito's ult. The iframes for the ult expire before the animation is over, which means that towards the end of your ult animation you have a few frames where enemies can hit you but you can't move. So if there's AoE attacks or like lingering attacks on the field, you will take guaranteed damage and there's nothing you can do about it. That's dumb. But is that really design or is that just bad coding? Somehow the enemies always find that frame on me because it's not one frame, it's actually a bunch of fucking frames. It's like actually a quarter of a fucking second. Like, there's a really long period where you can be hit but you can't move. Who do I think is the most balanced character so far, besides the characters in National? Okay, unironically, it's Zhongli. Zhongli is the best balanced character in the game. He's far from the best character in the game, but he's definitely the best balanced character in the game. Because they had to buff us? Yeah, I mean, obviously he wasn't as balanced on release. Characters that give you a lot of survivability should not also be the best possible option offensively. If they are, then the balance isn't good because they're overpowered. Right? Like, as much as I love playing Xingqiu, and he's really fucking good, he's not balanced. You shouldn't have this much defensive utility in a unit that's also one of, if not the best unit to have offensively in your team. In a lot of teams, at the very least. Right? Like, that's not balanced. The fact that Zhongli is a DPS downgrade in almost every team where you can use him is really good. Is Kokomi unbalanced? I don't think so. Well, okay. If the benchmark for balance is Zhongli, right? Then, yeah, you could argue that she's unbalanced. But is she unreasonably unbalanced? I don't think so. Because, she does have a lot of upsides with somewhat reasonable damage, with good healing, good survivability, a lot of HP. But she also has some downsides with the fact that she doesn't give... Like, she's a defensive option that doesn't give any resistance to interruption to your team. And her height application from off-field is stationary, and against enemies that move a lot, or against waves that spawn at different parts of the chamber, that's gonna fuck you over. So I do think that she's still... Like, she is... Like, I guess you could say paying things for the upsides that you get, right? She's not as balanced as Zhongli, but she's not as unbalanced as Xingqiu. She's somewhere in the middle, and I'd say that she's closer to Zhongli than she is to Xingqiu. Be honest with yourself. If you weren't grinding for better artifacts, would you even still be playing Genshin at this point? Would you log in every day if the only reason to log in every day was if you wanted to play some Abyss? There was no fucking resin spending involved because you already had perfect characters? Like, most people wouldn't. Like, the whole point of systems like the artifact system is that you want to get better ones. But if the only way to enjoy the game is to remove your artifact, then that's a pretty big problem.